Hello again, this is Eddie, and I am adding another video to my messages of encouragement, and this one is entitled Angels Among Us. It was one of my earlier works. Like I said, I'm trying to get some of my earlier stuff out so that way I can have more room for my newer stuff. But this one dates back to May, and it is predated. It happened a couple months ago, but the message itself is still pretty strong. It did have to be edited a little bit due to some legal concerns, but other than that, it should be good to go, and we'll jump right into it. I had a particular post I'd planned on doing, but halfway through it, I realized it needed some work, and I feel this one needs to be said first. Have you ever heard the song Angels Among Us? A country song performed by the band Alabama. If you haven't, I strongly suggest you listen to it. I myself am a firm believer God sends angels when you least expect it. Different angels can do different things. God uses some angels for protection. Psalms 91:11. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. I feel they come in forms of strangers, friends, sometimes people you just don't like. My reasoning for believing in angels goes to a particular time in my life where my ex-fiance and I encountered a set of angels and didn't realize it till they were gone. Don't even remember their names, I just know and believe God sent them at a time when we needed a miracle. We get up early one morning to visit a place we had only seen pictures of, but never had actually been there in person. If you're not familiar with the channels, look it up. It's a very beautiful place that was open to the public in 2008. I had never heard of it till I was looking up places to hike. The actual trail begins in Rosedale, but you can access it from 2 additional places. Thanks to Google Maps and my stupidity of not checking into it further, we proceed towards Brumley Gap, going where Google said it was. We go up the mountains and finally arrive at a metal gate that has the rest of the road blocked off. Seeing no one around, we thought we were the first ones there for the day. So we proceed with no food, no cell service, no idea if we were going the right way or how far it really was. We drank water from a few little springs in the mountains. We finally arrive at a path where an old rotting sign hung from a tree, telling the distance to Hidden Valley Lake from that point. I knew we had to be close. So we make a right and go up the steep trail to the top and run into a couple people. Not thinking about how they could have beaten us to the channels, we proceed on. Finally, we see the top. The view was as close to heaven as one could feel. So we go into the massive rock formation, see more people, still not thinking of how they all got there before we did. We explore, take pictures, talk to a few people, then we decide to leave. As we're walking out, I see something that I hoped I wouldn't see the whole time we were there. Anyone who knows me personally knows I'm terrified of snakes. I can't stand them. Don't even like to see them behind glass. Just the thought of coming across one struck fear into me, scared to death of them. So I asked her if that what I saw was what I thought it was. She eased over to where I had seen it and confirmed that it was indeed what I thought. This fat boy took off running as fast as he could through that patch of forest, and I got away from it, finally. So we get back to the trail that brought us to the top and see another way other people were going. Again, not thinking. I had the assumption that there was a shorter way into this place, Everyone else is here. So instead of going the way we came in, we decided to go the other direction. The path looked nothing like the one we started on, so we kept going. Coming down the mountain, there was a couple asking about the distance from where they were to get to the top. They were older, very nice. Don't recall their names, but was glad later on that we had stopped to chat. They continued going up, and we continued going down. We finally reached our destination, or so we thought. We came out in a parking lot that was nowhere near where we parked. Extremely tired, hungry, frustrated, I called someone who I knew lived close by, hoping they would possibly come get us. Needless to say, they were in no shape to drive. As we wait and try to figure out our next move, that same couple we had met on the trail comes back down. They didn't end up making it to the top. I'm assuming they seen how stressed and worried we both looked, dreading the thought of hiking that trail back to the top and having to go back the way we came. We were also on a time limit. Our son was in daycare at the time, and we had to be back in Bristol at a specific time. Instead of waving goodbye and walking off, they asked us if we needed help. We explained the situation to them, and they offered to take us to wherever our truck was at that time. Two people they had never met until a couple hours ago. Strangers up until that point. We gladly accepted. Tired, starving, stressed because of what happened and the possibility of being late, we hopped in their car, and the feeling of knowing we wouldn't have to walk was a miracle. They could have been serial killers, and in the moment, I wouldn't have cared. They take us back to our truck and didn't ask for payment or anything like that. Drop us off, and we are so relieved to be back in the truck. It had been hours since either one of us had eaten anything, and we were finally reunited with our food and vehicle. Exhausted from the walk, she lays down in the truck bed. I myself sit in the front seat and lean against the steering wheel, and we both doze off. Waking up after 5 p.m., I get her attention, and we sped off the mountain. Well over 45 minutes to our destination, hoping we wouldn't be late. I would say I don't know how we got there as quickly and safely as we did, but I'm pretty sure I do. I don't doubt God was with us that whole day. From the angels He sent to the safe and quick trip to get our son before they closed, God was there the entire time. Just when you think He isn't, He shows up. I don't remember praying for an angel that day or a miracle, but I was sure thankful for the ones He sent. This is another example of angels among us. A man I personally know was going through a divorce. One of the hardest things some people deal with in life. The rejection of someone you care deeply for is an unbearable pain that is so hard to live with. God has His reasons, but at that time, why care? The hurt outweighed the reasons. He already had the plan laid out, shells in the gun. Ready at any moment, he would pull over on the side of the road as if he had broke down. He knew she would stop to see if he needed help. At that moment, he would end her life and his all in one setting. Any moment that car would drive by that particular spot, and he was ready. The man's brother lived close by, so before going through with his plan, he decides to stop in and see his brother. Tell him goodbye without him really knowing he was saying goodbye. The man didn't mention anything to his brother about what he had planned, but somehow he already knew. His brother knew something was going to happen. So instead of trying to pry it out of the man, the brother insists on him going downtown to get some chicken legs and some fresh air. The brother keeps the man out long enough to seem to forget what he originally had planned on doing. He was an angel. He saved at least 2 people that day, saved a couple kids from losing their parents. So I am a firm believer in angels among us. That man lives today serving God, and if I'm not mistaken, is a member of a church that he teaches a lesson here and there at some services. Angels are real. My last example of angels among us goes out to someone who didn't have to be the angel they stepped up to be. When I was going through my breakdown, someone stepped in and took care of my kids so I could get myself back on track. The one, I was asked to remove her name from anything I post due to legal matters, so we'll just put this flower here to symbolize the one. I personally can't thank you enough for everything you have done. Making sure they were fed, keeping them healthy, loving them, disciplining them, and when they needed it, keeping a roof over their heads, warm beds to sleep in, clean clothes, the list goes on and on. I appreciate everything you have done and continue to do. I owe you more than I'll ever be able to give back. Once again, thank you. So that's all I have to say for tonight. So if God ever nudges you to do something kind for someone, take advantage of it. You never know. You could be the angel someone is needing. Good night and peace be with you. I did have to edit part of this at the bottom because I didn't realize that the one did bring water and granola bars, probably ones I wouldn't have eaten. Then we did drink out of the springs in the mountains after we ran out of our water. I hope this message reaches anyone and everyone that needs to hear it, and always remember, if you can, please be an angel to somebody. You do not know what anybody's going through deep down inside. They could give you the biggest smile, happiest face, and inside behind that is a war raging on that only they and God can know about and handle. As I always say, you're not alone. Peace and love be with you. Good night.